I am making this video because I have a lot of things on my mind and I just need to word vomit. So, if you feel like listening, go for it. If you don't, click off, whatever. The one thing I want you to keep in mind this whole video is put aside the fact that I have piercings, tattoos, dyed hair, whatever, and pronouns, whatever. There's no, real reason I'm making this video besides to get this off my chest. I don't give a fuck what you think of this video, okay? But one thing that I noticed is that politics are taking up our entire lives. It is now getting into people's personality, as in, this is the main thing that they represent, and then everything else just doesn't fucking matter. You can see it a lot with some Republicans of how they have, the full, Make America Great Again outfits, whatever, just as an example. The thing is why did we get to this point, guys? Why did we get here? Because, what is your favorite color? You know what I'm saying? Politics have taken over our lives so much that we have gotten filled with so much hate instead of loving one another. And I know that's for some of people that's an impossible thing to think about. But listen, all I want you to take from this video is just to listen. You do not have to go by any of my opinions. It's okay if you disagree. It is okay if you agree. I just want you to listen if you want. And if you don't want to, you can just click off the video, no big deal. But I think that coming from someone who just entered their 20s, I think adults are the most childish. Alright? My point being, for example, we're all kind of familiar with the phrase of, never judge a book by its cover. That is something that has been stuck in my head since I was a child. Luckily, I was raised by someone who let me express myself. And anyway, as long as I wasn't hurting myself or others, and as long as I was fine, I was okay to express myself. That is why I have dyed hair. That is why I have piercings. It's because this is how I express myself. There is no ulterior motive. There is no weird conspiracy. This is just how I like to dress. And that's fine. I'm not hurting myself, and I'm not hurting other people. This is simply how I'm customizing myself, and that's fine. Another thing that I have noticed, alright? Remember, let's take it back to when you were a kid, alright? Do you remember arguing with one of your friends, and you knew, in your mind that they were right about something, but you're just I won't let them have it. I'm gonna win this argument. I'm gonna win this argument this time. And then so you guys argue until you win, until you feel like you win the argument, right? We've all done this as kids. At least I have. Well, something that I noticed is that we haven't outgrown that. Because when it comes down to it, I personally think that anyone can have their own opinion. It doesn't matter, what political leaning side you're on. It doesn't matter where you're from. You are entitled to your own opinion. But specifically with the stuff that's going on in the U.S. right now, I think that we should, in my opinion, I think that we should, have your opinion over here and someone else's opinion over here. They might be contradicting, but I think the Venn diagram part in the middle should be basic human rights. Now, that might sound unbelievable to some people, but I feel like no matter what political view you have, no matter what race, no matter what gender, no matter what sexuality, we're all human. I don't understand why we have to, gay people, for instance, you have to hate all of them. Well, some people have to hate all of them just because they have a preference. Instead of, and that's fine. That's fine. But, the baseline should be, you should have at least a certain level of respect, as in, okay if you don't like them, but you shouldn't be, going out of your way to kill them, you know what I'm saying? Basic human rights. I think everyone should have basic human rights, and then we can have our political beliefs on top of it. If you want to pay taxes a certain way, this way, or if you think that things are going wrong in this way, that's perfectly fine. But I feel like we should have basic human rights as a baseline. We're all part of the same, species. We're scientifically, we're all part of the same species. Alright? So why can't we just have, at least a certain level of respect for that? Even if we, disagree with some people's opinions, because it's fine. It's because everyone is completely different. As far as I know, no one's lived the same life the exact same way. even if you were like twins born at the same time, you still might have a preference for like different food tastes, or you might be going to the bathroom at a different time. You know what I'm saying? Because like no one's built exactly the same way. Everyone has experienced life or thought different things through a certain way, you know? So like, why we're misconstruing everything so far, and it's just kind of sad to see, you know? Because I feel like everyone should just be a little open-minded about things. I'm not saying for you to completely change your political beliefs. I'm not saying that you should see things a certain way and only see things a certain way. I'm just saying, what happened to people being like, one person has one opinion, one person has another opinion, but why can't we just agree to disagree? You know, why can't we, like, hey, I have this certain opinion about something, and you disagree with it, but instead of me, like, fighting you about it, why can't we just agree to have different opinions? You know? And it sucks because that's what the media has, like, construed us to believe, is that, like, you have to think a certain way, or, like, that's kind of, like, what the whole, like, rage bait thing that people do is just, like, post videos just make you interact with it just so they can make money off of it. I really wish that, like, we could just agree to disagree. Be a little bit open-minded about things, and at least if we have differing opinions, at least know deep down that we're all just human, and we're all different. Because being human is to mean that you're imperfect. Genetically wise, and like, just in general how you think, it's all gonna be different. I have crooked teeth. I have weird-ass looking fingers. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Because having imperfections like this that don't directly, like, affect me, my teeth are crooked, but they're not to the point to where they cause me pain every day, and they're not, like, risking my health. So I want to keep them, because it reminded me that I am human. That is the most human thing about me, is just having some imperfections, alright? We all do, and that's fine. And that's another thing I don't understand, is, like, I hate how people want you to look a certain way, or think a certain way, or have a certain perspective. We're all gonna have different opinions, and that's just something that a lot of people I don't think realize, is that we're all okay to have our own opinions. You're not required to think a certain way, and that's just something that's been bothering me a lot. I don't care if you're right-leaning, or if you're left-leaning, or if, like, you're in the middle somewhere. Like, why can't we just have a little bit of respect for our fellow species, and have that foundation of, hey, I'm human, you're human too. That's pretty fucking cool. Even though we have different opinions, that's still fine. At least we're both human, right? Something that I try to do in my life every day is, when I'm at work, I try to compliment people as much as I can. If I'm at work, or if I'm on the street, or if I'm talking to people in customer service, or if I'm talking to fast food workers, anywhere, I try my best to give out compliments to people, because I feel like that's something that we're missing now, you know? Because, like, no matter the person's age, like, sometimes when I compliment people, it feels like they didn't expect it, sometimes. And why can't we just go back to that? I have a friend, and I asked him one day, I was just like, you know, we've been friends for a while, I don't understand why you're so nice to people all the time. And he told me that a lot of hate in this world, so he's nice out of spite. And that stuck with me since he talked to me about that. People are getting fueled by politics, and it goes back to what I said in the beginning of this, is that, like, argue just to win the argument. It doesn't matter if they're right, it doesn't matter if they're wrong. Some people just want to win an argument, and that sucks, you know? Because, me personally, I'd rather have discussions with people. I'd rather talk it out. Talk about why you think a certain way about something, and why I think a certain way about something. And then if we can't come to, like, an agreement, and so instead of having an argument about it, why can't we just, like I said, agree to disagree? It just sucks, you know? I wish a lot of people, like, had the capability to be a little bit more open-minded about stuff, and, you know, it could do with, like, how they were raised, or how they think a certain way, or, you know, it could be a lot of external factors, but I just wish people, like, at least respected their fellow human being, and it just sucks to see. Go outside, compliment someone. Ask people how their days are going. what happened to us asking you what your favorite color was? Politics and everything have taken over our life so much that so many people's personalities, like, what's your favorite color, man? What are your hobbies? What do you like doing? Do you like collecting things? Do you like playing an instrument? Do you like doing art? Like, why can't we go back to that? Like, I want to go back to learning about people. I love learning. I love interacting with people. It just sucks that, like, people just want to make one thing their entire personality, which, like I said, people are entitled to their own opinions. That's completely fine. People think a certain way, that's fine. I just hate how we've gotten to this point. And, you know, a lot of people deep down are also insecure about a lot of things. I think we're all insecure about at least something because of how social media has been constructed. One thing I do want to say, though, is that you're beautiful. If there's one thing to take away from this video, if you watch this far, disagree with someone, or if you think a certain way, at least have that baseline of respect that they're also human. Thank you.